Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality of the worst grasp on seasons, and welcome to something a little bit different. An action comedy that flopped at the box office starring a huge Hollywood star whose career spans decades. I'm talking about Jackie Chan, of course. And if one's going for action comedy, he's pretty much the go-to guy, as he's had his hands, feet, and several other body parts in the genre quite a few times over the years, such as in today's movie, Around the World in 80 Days. Or in 80 Tagen om de Welt, if you want the best price on Blu-ray at the time of this recording. Laughing in the face of region locks is great and all, but it's not explaining the synopsis of this particular film. Around the World in 80 Days is the story of how a small group of people go around the world in 80 days. Of course, today we're looking at the 2004 movie starring Jackie Chan, not the 1956 one or any of the other 7 adaptations of the 1873 novel. As this one's a Jackie Chan movie, of course, going to China along the way it not only happens, but is more than a little important. And there's a never-ending stream of asses to kick and hilarious situations to run into. Of course, that is one reason why critics are so harsh on it when first released. It is very different from the other, much more well-known movie, but then again, all 9 film adaptations vary drastically from the original book they are all based on, so let's just take a look at Around the World in 80 Days starring Jackie Chan, and see if it is at least entertaining in its own right. The movie opens up to rolling clouds and credits, and a gigantic blue sky, which happens to be outer space if the planet is anything to go by, but zooming down into the Sim City below, we see our story begins at the Bank of England in the late 19th century. Where they seem to have just invented expedited shipping. Either that or Jackie Chan playing Lao Xing just so happened to rob the place and therefore has to sneakily escape the police, getting a new outfit out of a tailor's carriage shortly before hiding in a tree where he witnesses the fascinating work of a prominent scientist, Phileas Fogg, played by Steve Coogan. He's having his own problems as his attempts to show man can go beyond 50 miles per hour can't go on as his employees keep quitting in terror.
There's no man brave enough to be my valet.
I'm your new valet.
Well, that's good for the job market when new employees just fall out of the sky. For some reason, though, Phileas only hires French valets, but Lau makes the case that he's actually half French, born in France, and more than French enough for whatever he has in mind. That would be strapping him into a steampunk roller coaster and pumping his jetpack full of goat juice until he breaks not only the human speed record, but the tracks themselves, resulting in just a little destruction and chaos. What with the runaway Jackie Chan tearing through the streets of London. Well, now that he's helped, Lau is ready to give the man his 2 seconds notice.
But with you as my brave valet, I can test all my inventions.
No. Yes. I take the job.
But sometimes you just can't turn away from the siren call of not having to spend the next few years bunking with Bubba. While he and Phileas get acquainted, news comes of the robbery of the Bank of England, and Lord Kelvin, played by Jim Broadbent, is highly upset at the loss of the only item stolen, the Jade Buddha.
You gave me every assurance that the Bank of England was impenetrable!
Sir, I said impregnable.
It's the same thing, you idiot!
Either way, it's extremely inaccurate. People walk in and out of that bank all the time. It's not just the missing Buddha that's the problem, though, but the fact that this puts his dealings with the evil warlord General Fang, played by Karen Mok, in a bit of a bind. He declares that her faction will not get any help from the British military unless he gets the Jade Buddha back. Naturally, they butt heads over this new arrangement, but eventually she follows suit, leaving him to talk bad about her behind her back.
A female general. What sort of pathetic man takes orders from a woman?
Was that joke supposed to fall flat? Ah, well, forget the plotline for a bit. Lau has to take the orientation course with Phileas, which at the very least still beats the hell out of getting arrested.
Sorry, what was your name?
Passport.
2.
Passport 2.
And we get the alias he's going to be going under to keep Phileas from finding out the truth. It's a shame because it's going to be a lot harder for me to remember to keep saying Passport 2 for the rest of the review. Anyway, Passport Dude concludes the 5-cent tour by quickly sending his family a letter about how he stole the Jade Buddha back, and he will get it to China as fast as he can. That errand will have to wait, though, as Phileas has to take him along to the Royal Academy of Sciences to boast about his record-breaking experiment. The problem is he's technically not authorized, because he's one of those weirdos who thinks science should be used to learn new things, whereas everyone else there?
We live in a golden age, Fogg. Everything worth discovering has been discovered.
Let us live peacefully in this world without the dreaded presence of polyester or auto-tune. Furthermore, they don't have time to deal with Fogg's funky ideas about steampunk segways with a bank robber on the loose. Fogg takes this opportunity to scoff at how slow they are to do anything, because the man could easily be all the way to China in about a month. This they also laugh at, saying that Phileas believes you can circle the globe in about 2 weeks.
Actually, by my calculations, it would be closer to exactly 80 days.
Fuck a range of dates. What kind of self-respecting scientist even believes in variables? Piss poor Lou sees an opportunity here, and secretly goads the scientists to try and get Phileas to actually attempt to circumnavigate the world in 80 days. Eventually, it comes out as a wager, as Lord Kelvin says if he can do it, Fogg can take his position at the Royal Academy of Sciences. However, if he fails this task, he must never practice science again. This is quite the bet, so he takes it, and swears that by noon on the 80th day he shall ascend to the top step of the Royal Academy of Sciences. Then he realizes what a fucking stupid thing he's supposed to do and is all depressed and shit. Don't worry though, Pat Porno is here to tell him that he can do it, because his new French valet believes in him.
Yes! 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 You're mad. We'll be sliced to pieces before we reach India.
Or you could just take the carriage. I'm not sure why your first thought was the Cuisinart Express. The first leg of the trip is to be done on his steampunk horseless carriage, but wouldn't you know it, that's illegal! Rather suddenly and confusingly, as explained by the officer, Inspector Fix, played by Ewan Bremner.
All vehicles must be powered by horses, or other indigenous quadruped creatures of the like, excluding giraffes.
Obviously, good luck getting one of those through a drive-thru. It doesn't take long to realize that Fix is our inept villain/comic relief, as he burns his hand on the hot pipes before accidentally going full throttle and dragging himself off down the road, allowing our heroes to easily proceed without him. Through stealing a police carriage, but it's not like I have any right to complain about how people intend to stay on schedule. However, as it turns out, Fix was bribed by Lord Kelvin specifically to hinder Fogg's progress.
What's the point of hiring a corrupt police officer if he can't even abuse the law properly?
Well, I'm pretty sure he can do a good job of picking up some kolaches and shit from Shipley's. They figure he'll probably get the job right eventually and plan to have him follow Fogg on his quest. General Fang, however, is preparing something else entirely. A carrier pigeon segue into the clouds so we can visit our next Sim City, Paris. Phileas is intent on keeping on schedule, but unfortunately doesn't speak the local language. No bother, why not have his French valet talk to the station man to ensure their train is on time?
Sacre bleu, la champignon, chateau, pion, bonsoir, hola, oulala, faut dire quoi?
T'as l'air malin, toi.
Pardon-moi French, but what the f— Looking to get Phileas out of here fast enough that he doesn't realize that Pac-Man 2 doesn't speak a lick of French, he points at a random poster with a light bulb and proclaims it says that Thomas motherfucking Edison is just down the street, so off they go. However, when they arrive, all Phileas is greeted with are the terrors of illogical impressionist artwork.
Trees are not violet, grass is not charcoal, and a man cannot...
A man cannot set his ass on fire to rocket up into the sky with his KFC. The lady who has painted this particular piece that piqued Phileas's passion would be Monique Laroche, played by Cécile de France. She bounces between taking in the admiration of Fogg and being told her art is unsellable shit by the establishment owner, while around the same time the exhibit is surrounded by General Fang's goons, the Black Scorpions. This means we get another half badass, half slapstick Disney-approved Jackie Chan action sequence.
No. Oh, it's terrible, no?
Now the action's not bad. Interrupting the middle of the scene for awkward art critiques is a bit janky, but not enough to make the scene a bad one. Either way, as the action scene continues, Jackie Chan combines his Batman reflexes with some Bob Ross creativity, violently producing happy little trees. And when the combat spills out onto the exhibition floor, he comes up with some quick story about how the attackers are art thieves, allowing Monique to show them a secret exit, hidden within a painting. This is not without its price, though, as she now demands Fogg allow her to accompany him on his trip around the world, as she's sick of being ignored.
They think of me only as a coat check girl.
Why?
Because I am the coat check girl.
Aw man, that's just like how people think that I'm just some fucknugget who thinks too much about movies and makes videos about it on the internet. Still trying to escape the Black Scorpions, Preserved Food points out the hot air balloons. As luck would have it, Phileas deducts that with the current wind speed, it would make a fine vehicle for the next leg of their circumnavigational journey. It also is slow enough to get off the ground that Monique is easily able to accompany them, and after Jackie Chan has fun assaulting an old lady for Phileas's bag, he can even save a family from burning to death in a random fire before making his way back up to the basket and flying away like the superhero he is. Unfortunately, Monique absolutely refuses to leave, even insisting that she take the Orient Express with them upon landing in Munich, and generally getting on Phileas's nerves.
This is what happens when you leave your home. You meet people.
That has to be the best indictment of socializing that I've ever heard. So while Phileas heads off to try and get the train to go faster, Monique questions Pet Cartoon about his alleged French ancestry, at which point he begrudgingly confesses to being on a secret mission to return the Jade Buddha to his home in China and save them from not having a Jade Buddha. Ah well, Phileas returns, unsuccessful at getting the train to go any faster, so Monique volunteers to try to do so in his place, under the condition that if she can make the train go faster, she can come along and he can't complain about it. Therefore... Now, they don't ever explain exactly how she managed to get them to listen and make the train go faster. Possibly because you're not allowed to show such things in a Disney flick. Also, in the bank robbery plot, Fix discovers that Platitude is in fact the thief who stole the Jade Buddha from the Bank of England. However, as our inept comic relief villain, he fails so bad at apprehension, Jackie Chan has to leap in to try and save the bad guy. So, Mr. Fix is now hamburger meat. That's a bit extreme for the fucking Punisher. With that obstacle taken care of, they safely reach Istanbul. However, the local leader, Prince Happy, insists they stop their travels to spend the day at his palace.
And what is His Highness?
What the fuck is he doing in the movie?
How magical that our paths should cross. Do you believe in fate?
Oh dear God. Have I really done it? Will
The summer of Arnold Schwarzenegger
really never end? Whatever the case, there are a few things in life Prince Happy loves more than beauty, as is displayed in his proud ownership of a statue of himself. Also, his insistence that they stay the night in his palace. It's not so bad. He's got a 19th century jacuzzi to relax in. However, he also states that he won't let them leave without first accepting to leave Monique as wife number 7. Since they can't leave without agreement, that kind of solidifies Fogg and Pikachu's course of action. However, once they take Happy's personal personification and blast her hostage, the man has no choice but to let Monique go, call the guards off, and retreat into the back room.
Now, take off your clothes and... I assure you the statue is not armed. In any way, in fact, it's completely intact.
And if I were the prince, I'd get my money back on that statue. At least the Walter Paisley method of efficient sculpting came with a free corpse. Ah well, scene transitions wait for no one, and their circumnavigational voyage continues unabated. Well, slightly abated. They're on their way to India, which just so happens to be occupied by the British. That means Lord Kelvin can command more than just Fix to fuck with Fogg's progress, spreading a story about how Fogg and Peter Stew allegedly robbed the Bank of England. Thus, the group must get creative if they want to avoid suspicion.
I feel faint.
Phileas, women are not that weak.
So, but I am.
Man should have gone for the push-up bra. And who would they happen to run right the fuck into but Mr. Fix? Fogg's flamboyant and feminine behavior is a dead giveaway, and Fix spots him instantly. Of course, he doesn't catch the crossdresser right away, but he does get a hold of Platform Shoe, resulting in a trademark Jackie Chan action scene, what with the black scorpions being there as well. After he's done throwing Fix around, slamming him into this or that, and using him as a battering ram, Fix is pretty battered, and it's easy for them to throw his unconscious ass onto a taxi and use him as a cover for their escape, claiming that's the guy who robbed the Bank of England! Now they just have to figure out where to head to continue their journey.
Even if we could make it to the coast, you can't sail into Singapore or even Hong Kong. They're both British colonies.
It's a shame considering Hong Kong was one of the legs of the journey in the original novel.
Does England own everything in Asia?
Not China.
Well, except for that, Hong Kong part. I mean, what, do you think the Brits just showed up and they were like, what an amazingly beautiful, unoccupied tract of land we've discovered. What shall we name it? I'm torn between Hong Kong and New Worcestershire. The point is, our next romp through Sim City brings us straight to China, where our first step just so happens to be Pocket Loop's hometown. This gives him the chance to return the Jade Buddha, while also trying to keep the secret about how he's not who he said he was and in fact did rob the Bank of England. No bother, the family can help by making Fogg take shot after shot during his stay. However, when Phileas retires to bed for the night, he can't help but notice photograph after photograph of someone who looks just like his valet, and the handwritten letter just lying there written by the man talking about how he robbed the Bank of England and will go to China as soon as possible is pretty damning. Thus, he drunkenly confronts his companions, and dismisses the both of them, Monique because he finds out she also knew about this and was keeping it secret, so fuck her, he's got the world to go around in 80 days.
Don't let him go. He'll be lost by midnight. go.
More of your relatives, I suppose.
Yes, sorry, they do take sibling rivalry a little far, I know. Thus, as 3 of them are captured by the Black Scorpions, along with a comic relief prisoner arrested for urinating in public. The point is, the big bad of this band of bastards is none other than Bak Mei, played by Gul'dan himself, Daniel Wu. Seems he wants the Jade Buddha back, and our heroes are not forthcoming. However, he gleefully accepts when they agree to have the whole of the Black Scorpions do battle with Petting Zoo. Thus, Jackie Chan is back in action, kicking all the asses and taking all the names. Or at least most of them, as he's nearly defeated not by their constant attempts to kill him, but by more goddamn comedy in the middle of the action scene. Not to worry, his band of secret warriors, the 10 Tigers, swoop in to kick the ever-loving fuck out of the Black Scorpions. That makes for some nice kung fu spectacle, but as we could have guessed, it honestly all comes down to Bak Mei and past-date food, as he whoops that motherfucker's ass!
You promised me that Black Scorpions will never come back to Lanzhou.
Well, that wasn't so hard. I mean, yeah, he did rob the Bank of England and then go around the world and fight a bunch of kung fu dudes, but after all of that, you'd think that the final solution wouldn't just be a pinky swear. So the day is saved! Except for the fact that none of this ass-kickery has done anything to repair this strained relationship with Phileas, who decides from here on he's going to travel around the world alone. That's not so hard. He crosses the Pacific in the scene transition, and he might have all his money stolen minutes after he finds himself in America, but that can't keep a good man down, surely!
Alms. Alms. Alms for the poor.
Well, shit, man, you could have at least resorted to hitchhiking. You'd probably be dismembered somewhere around Philadelphia, but hey, that'd get you further. The calls for a quick buck summon forth Rob Schneider, who decides to help Fogg out by showing the man how to start a Patreon.
Hey, give me some money, please.
Yeah, sure, fella. Just don't touch me. You stink. That guy smells like a dead horse.
I'm not proud of it.
Fogg, on the other hand, just tries to ask Google to stop removing the ads on his videos.
Excuse me. You...
I know, it isn't funny anymore. That's kind of the point. Oh, well, we've got 30 minutes left of this 2-hour movie and a ton of exposition to get through, so not only does Fogg see the error of his ways conveniently right before running back into Monique and Patrick's stew, allowing them to continue their quest, but we see the Royal Academy of Sciences isn't suddenly not corrupt, because Queen Fang now promises instead of a single Jade Buddha, entire Jade mines if he grants her the power of the British armies. Not important yet, along the way across America, Fogg and friends happen to run into the Wright Brothers, played by the Wilson brothers, Luke and Owen. Sure, Fogg has his own ideas of a flying machine, but having him see their ideas for one is sort of important too, right? Ah well, on to the ship. Except the convenient shortage a police officer showed them was actually an inconvenient trap set by General Fang.
I knew Kelvin was duplicitous, but to align himself with such a little scoundrel... All right, you're not a scoundrel, but you are quite small.
And she intimidates her foes with terrifying bugle claws. No surprise, this is another trademark Jackie Chan action sequence, as the heroes beat the crap out of the remaining Black Scorpions, American edition. Unfortunately, while they are successful at the combat, this took long enough that they ended up on the second boat out, pushing them just too late to possibly make it around the world in 80 days. However, the captain of the boat is a big fan of Fogg. He also doesn't have nipples after a horrible shark attack. Thus, Fogg promises to get him brand new nipples if he'll be so kind as to let the scientist dismantle his ship to create a flying machine. Also, I'm not joking about the nipples.
You had me at the nipples.
Cornelius, fetch me my toolkit now!
Pushing forth to the climax of the adventure, and it's all riding on this man's nipples. Should have been the name of the book, Around the World with Captain Nipple. So, utilizing the power of the montage, they construct a flying machine, and even have enough time to deck it out with a paint job inspired by Monique's artwork. One ballista-style launch later, and they are flying into the home stretch. With but minutes to go until 12 noon, they are immediately blocked by Lord Kelvin.
They robbed the Bank of England!
Where is your proof?
This is the Royal Academy of Science! We don't need to prove anything!
I have no interest in the radical ideas of observational data. We already know that a watched pot never boils. And with the clock striking 12, Phileas knows he's too late. That way Lord Kelvin can do his final bad guy rant about how, yeah, he might have done countless things merely to impede Phileas Fogg's progress, but fuck him! Who are they gonna call? The Queen? Queen Victoria, played by Kathy Bates, who's standing right behind him right now? Well, fuck that bitch too. With that, Kelvin is stripped of his position, and the Queen has a special message for Fogg.
I've got 20 quid riding on you.
But, Your Majesty, it is gone 12 noon.
Correct? Which gives you 24 hours remaining.
Well, 23 hours and 56 minutes, but I get what you mean. Turns out with all his sciencey smarts, Phileas Fogg forgot about that little international date line, and Kelvin forgot how to count days. Thus, happy ending! He made it around the world in 80 days, found true love, and Pinched Cow's Moo breaks Mr. Fix's arm one more time for old time's sake. The end. Well, that was a bit all over the place. Of course, that's kind of the point, but... Anyway, that was Around the World in 80 Days. 2004. Disney. And... I liked it! Anyone expecting a remake of the 50s flick set themselves up for disappointment, but I went into this 2004 Disney flick starring Jackie Chan expecting family-friendly, over-the-top action, and that's exactly what I got. Despite the fact that Jackie Chan was cast as what can best be described as a side character in this story. Not that he's given little screen time, mind you. All three of the main cast have more than enough time to establish their characters, hopes, dreams, and personalities. By the end, I actually quite liked the character of Phileas Fogg. Early on, I'm just watching for Jackie Chan, but Fogg's mannerisms grew on me, and the comedy written around it worked well. As far as the negatives go, as entertaining as the movie is, and as much as it does exactly what it set out to do, it's a pretty basic flick. The moral lessons are your generic kid movie fodder, with nothing that really begs any deeper thought. The adventure around the globe is a highlight reel that hardly even hits at any unsavory aspects of the world, and you never feel like the good guys are at any real danger of losing the wager. Yeah, they get in some rough spots, but in a movie where the corrupt police officer is more often than not defeated by his own ineptitude. Overall, Around the World in 80 Days is a Jackie Chan action-adventure comedy. If you like that genre of movie, congratulations! You should find more than enough enjoyment out of this one to seek it out. If that's not what you're into, stay away because that's pretty much all this particular film has to offer. To me, Around the World in 80 Days comes in at 4 bugle claws of death out of 5. Well, I don't make it a habit to seek out family-friendly entertainment, but I actually kind of enjoyed this one. YouTube's probably going to still say it's not advertiser-friendly, though, for some bullshit fucking cock-ass reason. And thank you all for watching. I've been Shado. And remember, scientists don't have to prove anything. And watch out for chemtrails.
This is what happens when you leave your home. You meet people.
Hello, world. God, Dutch! Oh, God, no! That's not helping.